And this is for you, forward and backwards are these two buttons.
I spoke in this room before, but where's better for people to stand over there, or?
You like to walk around, right?
Yeah, but I think sort of minimum in this room. Yeah.
I mean, anything you want. It's not big.
What's better for the group? Yeah. Yeah. I apologize. Enough time. Is this on? This is just for the recording, right?
Yeah.
Dina, this is just for the recording.
No.
So it's on, right?
It's on. Yes, it is. Let me just grab everybody.
Exactly. Just doesn't come with intro. It's hard to get it in anyways. I remember that.
I'm all about
So we're very honored and privileged today to have a really, really special guest speaker who is internationally known, Dr. Skip Burkle, as he goes by, even though it says Frederick. And I won't go through his whole CV because it would take me several hours.
this is, in the next decade, country and vice versa, okay? So I really, you'll see that as abruptly change. Internationally, because you're not used to working, even though Orange County and you see a poor population and all the rest, it's a lot different when you're really dealing with a resource-constrained or resource-poor environment. You're also dealing with a totally different culture, a humanitarian community, all right? It was embarrassing, okay? And there were a lot of people like yourselves who actually ended their capability. There were EM amputations, okay? All right. And if done research on those things, but all of my time has been spent in global crises, primarily related to war. All right. So we're going to go through quick, and you'll say, where is this going? New term is established term in our field, okay? Was Katrina a public health emergency? Yes. Was Sandy a public health emergency? So it has a lot to do. Study how long it takes before we start seeing the consequences. Okay? And the consequences usually occur within 10 weeks. And I will tell you, and we'll show you, every single TV with Afghanistan and Iraq. You know, that they shouldn't be showing up. That's the kind of information that to a definition, but definition and really answer for yourself right now is why this and who are these people? What are they doing? Okay, that's the sorts. Okay, direct effects of a norovirus or things like that. Access, and it has start to rise at least a decade. For 18 months, but when the public health reasons then in Iraq. Okay. Now I was invited to write a commentary for the that I had to is you can't do anything about the let's stop or mitigate the indirect consequences when they decision to until the Iraqis developed not a very good surveillance system. We had absolutely no idea who was. This is extremely important. Between direct and indirect. The Sudan that went on for a long time, 2 million people who died, of the 2 million, died from and Ethiopia-Eritrean war that went on for a fair amount of time. Too, because what ends up happening is a conflict intensity. Do you feel like but the resource base after the war is over is 10%. System is unrestored. If you don't have the ecosystem, things, infectious diseases rampant, not monitored. So both Iraq and Afghanistan, but Vietnam, where I was, the attention to the warfare. Now, Vietnam was a declared war, but unconventional warfare. So, you know, these insurgencies, terrorist events, internal conflict, asymmetrical warfare, all these other things that are happening now. Our military focus is on that. Okay, they had absolutely no idea. And as a matter of fact, both in Iraq and Afghanistan, and certainly in Vietnam, the civilians made up 67 to 72% of the people who were dying. But you ask any soldier about that, oh yeah, they think they're safe. It's safer to be in uniform. That died, but nobody really. So that produces a prolonged public health emergency, and that's what kills most of the people. Okay, so just remember that point. Here. Mercy Corps. The Congo, which rapidly changed over in the last 3 months because they found what we call organized armed violence. All right, that's about who owns what and what resources. So we're talking about countries. Interesting cocktail party. Want to impress somebody, okay? How many of you guys are not married? And you're looking for, yeah, okay. This is the kind of information that I'll tell you that. one of the things to tell them that, do you know about this, and go home with that, is that peacekeeper forces that are deployed now, and they are deployed because of situations of these resources. That's why they're there. Okay, and the countries are a lot of it had to do with Mali tribes were really stayed in Libya. And then when the war, they moved to Mali, and that's where to say, these are our resources and something new. But it's all about this kind of stuff, okay? Well, we never expected that anybody sub-Saharan Africa. Now, in 2011, 308 aid workers subject to violence, 95 kidnapped, and more killed. Hostage taking, they prevent access, they're taxed, a whole bunch of things. So they've removed some part of the human, meaning that if you're going to be a non-governmental, the issue here is that they haven't been, and monitors it. Yeah.
Wise to aid workers killed in motor vehicle collisions, say
in these things, it depends on the country. It really depends. A lot of them is just not. But the accident, it's mostly motor vehicles. You're absolutely right about that. Okay. So the number of aid projects that are closed or suspended is doubled because of lack of security or dangers to the staff. That half the world's been Syria in a second. Very concrete. Can't convince them any other way. You start talking. Working very much because, quite honestly, we're targeted for who we are, not with the resources that we have. And that was just the opposite that's seen. Yes, ma'am.
polio.
Gross violation of the Geneva Convention. Start with consequence. Switzerland. Okay, that's for sure. You know, just for IRC alone, about 60% of our programs are essentially administered outside the country or certainly outside the area, so remote programming. That we never did before. Right? Now, in case of Syria, to think of that, it's assuming it's way over our heads, and it's not something we can get involved in. And I would really caution about putting in weapons. Do more people get killed? That's one of the arguments for drones. But in the case of Syria right now, you need to understand that on both sides, as healthcare workers, you would be killing the opposite side when they came into the hospital. That's what's happening. Refusing to treat them, even killing them. Now that is, you know, the impartiality and neutrality thing is gone. Okay? Having a hospital or any place, we've never seen that before. For somebody who's grown up in the humanitarian community, is that worrisome? Very, very worrisome. Okay, but that right now, we Canada, like that. Along comes 9/11, and doors were shut. Okay, and tallied. So those are people who something within the borders. The UN. Displaced, believe it or not, the government started to turn. It makes up waters pump. There. Okay, and so it change, and when that's been going late, people leave because they can't. Failing economies and human security. With three, we're like hoping they. In the cities. now people are living in shanty towns owned by other people. They have to pay for things like that. He knows who they are. Or ends up doing. So these are all the things that comes that, but it's unsustainable. But we start by, but the average density in Mumbai, and there are many intense, everybody space 50 meters, etc., etc. That just and so the biggest corporations in these cities are weapon traders. It's corrupt. The police are corrupt. The predatory gangs. And in Asia, yeah, you have rapid, unsustainable urbanization, but and so population was. This is what's happening to all those areas. And, you know, in Shanghai, for a recession occurred, within 1 week, 29 million young adults were out of work. Now they had, but were now trained, they would take the jobs from the people that were there. For most of, they call them incidents. They can control them. There's a lid, people working like that. Okay, one country that has not as many, but can't. People go. So. You know, if I were giving you guys a test beforehand, and one of the first questions was, where do you find the highest mortality rates and morbidity? And so the first one was rural Africa. Oh, yeah. So, and then check it off. Well, 10 years ago you'd be right, but now you're wrong. Most of the infant mortality is coming from these urbanized centers. We have a lot of good data. These are in sovereign countries. Want anybody to come in and start taking surveys and do it, okay? But the urban slums, over 1 billion people with no political voice, one latrine, walk, and no privacy. So, you know, women do not go to the bathroom at night. They're raped, okay? No international NGOs I know of wouldn't even think of going to these. They're massive. Our NGOs don't have that capability. They can run a refugee camp and things. Increasing focus of conflict. Remind you here that I'm talking about war. War is, we have the lowest level of declared war, but we have. Now, part of that is definition. We're for a century tied to war. But war is anything where there's over 1,000 deaths per year. These are conflicts less than that, but if you add them all up, we have a globalized war.